every one of these people is way, way in better shape than I am as a dude like that just is 27 and doesn't play professional sports. Like every one of them is way, way in better shape than me, except maybe Tom Brady.
Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sports Den, the podcast. We've got another new person. I like this thing we're going through. We've got new people all around. We've got Kyle now. If you want to go ahead and say hi. Hi, Kyle.
Yo, what's up?
Yeah, so tell us a quick little bit about you. Give us a little blurb. Don't make me cut you off though. So.
Yeah, I'm Kyle. I'm currently living down in Jacksonville, Florida, from upstate New York. Syracuse, Browns, Battlestar Galactica, Bears, Beats. Yeah, that's about it. So.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to jump into it. So, raise your hand if you have a fantasy team.
Kyle and I are in two different fantasy leagues, and we're in two of the same fantasy leagues, and we.
So, for podcast
2 or 3.
listeners, yeah,
maybe 3.
For podcast listeners, we all raise your hand. Okay, go ahead and keep your hand up if you do not currently have someone on the IR.
Way down. Down.
I have never once. I've played in leagues that have had an IR for years. I have never once used my IR. I either cut a guy if he's out, I'm going to cut him. I'm going to pick up someone else, and then I've never once used an IR. Yeah, I'm in 3 leagues. I think I have a guy on the IR in all 3. Fantasy football.
Rough out there.
2020.
It's been rough. It's been rough. I had the Niners defense in a keeper league, and I kept it, and that has been a massive mistake. That was a waste of a keeper, for sure. Not good. So that is the sole loss I have I'm in 4 different leagues, and the only game I have lost is that one where I started the Niners last week. So, not fun.
Yeah, I know I have at least one with Christian McCaffrey that's down.
Oof.
That's the biggest one. I mean, well, clearly, but I've escaped pretty clean for the most part. Other than that, Jimmy Garoppolo. Hopefully, he's not out for too long. But yeah, it's definitely been wild. It's been making for a lot of fun trades though, and that's what keeps fantasy leagues interesting. If you're just in the leagues, everybody keeps their players and doesn't do any trading. It can get really stale really quick. So it's good to put some trades out there. If you're looking for somebody, if you got a bunch of people on the IR, shoot some offers. I've had some crazy things go through that I never thought would. So try it out.
Yeah, I just traded a 2nd-round pick for a backup quarterback. Now it's a dynasty league where we only draft the rookies, so it's not that big of a deal. But I did realize that I didn't have another quarterback for the bye week coming up, and this guy is probably going to start with how it's looking. So, yeah.
Was that me? I don't remember.
Yeah.
That might have been me.
Yeah, that was you, Kyle.
So, for what it's worth, now some of these players are not drafted, but I'm on ESPN's list right now. Since Sunday, and so this doesn't include the ones from even before Sunday, but since Sunday, 14 people have been classified as injured or out.
Whew.
For this week. 14 players. Oh, but then let's include that we also have a million of them from earlier. But yeah, this has been the craziest year for fantasy, and I will give someone some credit. I do believe Jonathan had mentioned earlier on a podcast that it wasn't going to be people getting sick with COVID, or maybe this was a one-on-one conversation that we had.
I think it was on pod.
Yeah, that if it was, someone let us know and find it. But yeah, that it wasn't going to be that people were going to get sick with COVID or get the disease, but people were going to be dropping like flies, and you had some different reasons for that. But yeah, like that.
I want to give a quick rebuttal to the Niners. The entire Niners team has tried to claim that it was the turf at MetLife Stadium that was injuring them, which there is a negligible amount that the turf would probably affect if you're wearing the wrong type of cleats. I get that. But the real reason is one the players will never admit. It's we didn't have a preseason and all these guys are out of shape. And the players are never going to admit that because the players don't want to play preseason games because they only get paid $500 for a preseason game. And so regardless of who you are, you get paid $500 to play in a preseason game. That's it. And so all these players don't want to play preseason games and don't want to get their bodies right playing preseason games. And we didn't have that this year, and we see all these injuries. So the owners are not going to give back this no preseason thing. And that's really where the injuries are coming from. I think it's pretty obvious.
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, but you look at some of them. It's not. I mean, you look at some of the players, and it's not like they appear out of shape. And I think a lot of them. I mean, we can somewhat crossing sports. I mean, you look at some of the basketball players before they came in the bubble. I mean, there are a number of guys who got jacked. So I think I don't know. I mean, there's definitely going to be some that are maybe out of shape, a little bit of it, but I think
out of shape doesn't mean you're not physically in shape. It just means your timing's off, and you're more likely to do things that will lead to you getting hurt because your timing's off. You don't know your physical limits like you normally would with a preseason. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're not like every one of these people is way, way in better shape than I am as a dude like that just is, 27 and doesn't play professional sports. Like every one of them is way, way in better shape than me, except maybe Tom Brady. But I think I could beat him in a foot race, and I have a blown knee, so I think I could. He's slow, man. But every other one of them is very, very much in better shape, and I just don't know that. But the timing just is off. And when I did play sports, when I would hurt myself, is when I tried to do things I knew I could do, but I hadn't warmed up for, and I wasn't in the right frame of mind for. So, yeah.
Yeah, especially with all the soft tissue issues, all the hamstrings, like that's just not having that preseason. ACL, stuff like that may or may not be. I really doubt that it's the turf because it's not like they have this brand new turf in 2020 that they've never played on before, and so that's why they're getting injured. Like they've played on grass, they've played on turf their entire careers, in college, in high school, wherever they were. They played on both before. It's not like this is something new, but not having that preseason definitely set up for a lot of injuries. And we didn't see too many week one, so we're like, oh, all right, not too bad. We had a few hamstrings, not too bad. But then like week two, it was just like brutal.
I mean, I don't want to discount the whole turf idea before. I've heard enough solid, good athletes that have said, no, turf matters. I mean, the biggest one that I'll always remember is Team USA women for the Women's World Cup complaining. Actually, it was the turf in Houston, I believe. Actually, it was where literally every single one of them before the series or before the games even started, they were like, absolutely not. If we step foot on that thing, we're going to die. Like our knees are going to explode because it's a bad field. And a bunch of other people have brought that up.
As a Texans fan, we had to pay a bunch of money to a kicker because our turf was so bad. So yes,
So, and
because he was literally walking on it, and there were like seams in the turf. Like this is how it was right after. It was right after Farida had to sell the team, and they were in massive disarray because they forced the owner to sell the team because he owned a casino as well, and they were so terrified of gambling. And there was like it was so bad. There were like seams in the turf where you could see like all the way to the ground where they had laid this turf, and the guy got his foot caught in the seam, and I think it was an ACL that he tore when he got his whole foot went right between the seams of the grass. It was bad. It was bad, and then he sued the mess out of the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, so there's that, but then I've also heard, years past, I've heard a bunch of, it's weird that the 49ers, because I've actually heard that Levi Stadium has awful turf and ground. With turf, that's a claim that's actually been used a lot. And I think there's something to it when you get one team that gets as beat up as the 49ers have been. Especially if you're going 1 week playing because I believe their first game was at home against the Cards. And then going to another place where it may not have been great either. Anything that slightly got dinged up otherwise. It's definitely a thing. I don't want to discount it entirely, but it's a crazy, crazy time in fantasy. There's one league that I'm in where the guy that I've got out, or I put a guy on IR is not necessarily really out. And he wasn't one that I was really counting on. And I've been getting killed in that league. I've lost each game. The scoring is really, really weird. The way it's a really screwy scoring system. But I've lost each game by like 40 points, I think. Or I lost the first one by 40 and I lost again. But I'm looking at where I'm at now, and I'm like, I'm actually in a good spot. Like everyone else has lost like their biggest point producers, and I'm okay.
Yeah, if you won week 2 and you didn't have any injuries, you're in a good spot. Like if you could do those two things in week 2, win and not have any injuries, you're set up.
Yeah,
that's all it takes at this point.
I'm doing really good in this one league where Kyle is the commissioner. I will gloat mildly because I think I beat you by like 180 points in week 1.
It was like 105, bad. But yeah.
It was bad. I think you had literally everyone who got injured in week 1, like before week 1 started. I think literally every one of them was on your team.
I had several out before the game even started, including Miles Sanders, who was either my first or second round pick, startup dynasty. And yeah, so it was, and then like Sleeper gives you like at the end of the week, like rankings and stuff. And Jonathan's team was the overachiever, and like his projection was only 160 something, and he scored like 220 or something like that.
It was something ridiculous.
Ridiculous. So
it was everyone overperformed in the most like drastic. I think there was not a single person on my thing that did not score at least 15 points, which is like unheard of. It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see going through. Since it's Thursday as of recording and waiver wire is up. Any big pickups? Who do you recommend that everyone picks up? Who did you pick up?
Who did I pick up? I picked up Mike Davis, and then I did that in a dynasty league, and I traded him for a third-round pick and a first-round pick. I didn't really want him. I don't think Mike Davis is going to be a good player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's average, but to think that he's going to come in and fill this CMC role, it's just not going to happen. But it was good to pick him up when I did to get the trade done. But actual pickups that I was excited about keeping them, KJ Hamler and Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman, and they both are in a spot where they have injuries on their team that are going to be getting them some more snaps, some more targets. So those were 2 targets that I had in a whole bunch of leagues, and not very much owned, so you can probably find them in most leagues. So
Cool. Anyone that you had pick up, Jonathan?
Well, I mean, not cool necessarily, but I did throw some waiver wire cash around to pick up Jeff Driscoll just for you, Ben.
I mean, he's not playing.
Yeah. Well.
We brought in Bortles for that.
Yeah. It's Bortles. Yeah. There's a very good chance Driscoll will play, but it's not a big deal. I didn't really that we have really big rosters in that league, and you're just throwing around people that you're like, okay, I know that name, I'll pick him. And so I have one league I'm in that we had like 17 or 18 people in that league. And Kyle, are you in that one that we did where it was like it took 85 hours to draft, it felt like?
Yes. Yeah, no, yeah, that's the Dynasty League that we're in, yeah. So it was because since it was a startup Dynasty, it was like 26 rounds, and we got done around 1 a.m. my time. So it was a long night, but
it was gross. Yeah. And we're getting down to I think we went 2 whole rounds where I didn't recognize a single name that got picked, and right there at the end. And then the only picks I was recognizing were the people that I knew, and I was picking like guys I wasn't even sure if the Texans were going to cut or not. So,
drafts like that, I actually wonder if you break conventional fantasy wisdom. Because I'm in one league, it's not that big, but we've got 1 billion bench spots, and so you're starting to get into that round, and I'm starting to wonder if, like, conventional wisdom for me in fantasy has always been, you wait till round 13 to draft a defense, and you pick whatever kicker you end up with in the last round. But I'm starting to wonder in some of those other leagues, if you go ahead and go a little earlier and you actually pick up a backup defense and a backup kicker. I've never once picked up a backup kicker.
I would never do it.
So I am in a league. I am in one of my leagues has it's super, like, there's a bunch of people. And I was the last pick. So we're talking when you've got like 17 people and 17 people get to pick before, or 16 of them get to pick before you do, you've got to really think out of the box. So I was like George Kittle, first round, Mark Andrews, second round. And then I drafted a quarterback really early. And then I drafted 2 defenses and two kickers. And then I used them for trades because people didn't have good ones for them, and then used them for trades to get around. And what I did is I tried to hoard all of those. Like I got a whole bunch of really good players, and then when all these people felt like they were really bad at X position, they were coming to me and asking for it, and then I ended up with a pretty decent team in that league.
So yeah, that's why I never draft an extra kicker or defense, because you can get some wide receivers and some running backs in those 2 spots that can go off, and you can use them to trade. There's one league that I almost never have a kicker on my team until Sunday. Then I'll drop him for somebody through waivers, and I won't have a kicker, sometimes not a defense. And then I'll try to be making some 2-for-1 trades throughout the week and fill up that spot so I don't have to drop anybody, upgrade, and then move on to the next week and pick up whatever kicker there is.
There have been a number of times, I think, and I haven't done it yet this season, but I know years past, where especially defense, but I've done it with kicker, where you're winning going into Monday night and you've got one of them playing. You ever benched a guy and taken the 0 there?
I don't normally.
Definitely
a lot of times,
on a defense.
A lot of times tiebreakers can come down to like how many points you scored. So that's why I normally don't, if that's going to be a tiebreaker, like come the end of the season, if that extra 5-10 points.
It's very telling about how Kyle is with fantasy, that we have a dynasty where we have like, it feels like 30 people on our rosters, and we're not allowed to take kickers or defenses.
So, but that actually makes kind of you kind of brought up another thing. So, actually, one thing to do, little piece of fantasy advice, because of everyone getting hurt, look on those wires for bench spots to hold up on. So, I picked up in two leagues I'm in, with completely different types of people. Cam Akers was dropped in both leagues because he's hurt and in and out. He's questionable this week. ESPN expects him to be completely out, but he was dropped. It's a guy that is still even hurt. He's at least making his way into the system in LA. That's likes to run the ball. No, go look for those guys. So he's the guy I picked up. The other guy I picked up, I'm not gonna try to pronounce. Actually, I don't know how I want to try to pronounce any of his name. Wide receiver in Jacksonville, Laviska
Shenault.
Yeah, Laviska
yeah, I played it. I played him tonight. He did not do great.
He did not do great, but he's all right. I mean, in the league, the one league that I've got for scoring, I mean, he put up 8.4, which is not great. I think another league I've got him same player. He put up 5, which is not great, but at the same time, I've had receivers that I expected to go well put up less than 5. So it's hard to truly get angry. But yeah, that's a pick. Those are 2 picks that I picked up that I've seen available in most leagues.
Literally, as we speak, I just picked up Sony Michel. As we speak.
Good for you. Have fun.
I mean, he's not going to be. I mean, it's a bench spot that I was using on someone else that was really bad, like hadn't done anything. I dropped Duke Johnson of the one that apparently the D Johnson for the Texans that Bill O'Brien hates. Apparently loves the other dude and just would rather us let him get 1.5 yards a carry and lose than actually play a decent game plan. But whatever. So, and then. But they are playing the Raiders, who have a really bad defense this week. So that's a good pickup this week.
Darrell Henderson
is available.
I was able to pick up both LA running backs, both Rams running backs in the same one. And it's like, wait, someone's getting carries in that offense. And someone's getting passes from the backfield in that offense. If I get both of them, the other one's hurt. I'm going to pick up this one really quick. So that was a nice one that I've been able to pick up in a couple.
So this guy was probably already picked up in your league, but he was like 0% owned before this week. But Dalton Schultz, the replacement of Jarwin, tight end for the Cowboys,
and he went off.
Definitely a good. If he's still out there, good pickup. If somebody spent a whole bunch of money, bunch of fab, or just however you do it, on Deion Sanders, Wayne Gallman has just as good of a chance of being the main running back until Freeman gets up to speed. So Wayne Gallman is going to be out there. Nobody's going to have him, but be good to put on your bench, see how it happens. And Wilson, Jeffrey Wilson, everybody went out and got McKinnon. Jeffrey Wilson is the goal line back. He was healthy last year. Got a lot of work. So those are some running backs that they might surprise, and no one's going to be picking them up. They're probably going to be out there in most of your leagues. So probably not in your league if you're listening. You're like, no, we're way too sharp for that. We had him 3 weeks ago.
He was the third round. He was my third round pick.
Seriously.
I'm joking. He was not my third round pick. That was not. But anyway, any games looking forward? Do you have any games this week that you're excited about?
This week.
This week.
It'd be interesting to see if Watson can do anything against Pittsburgh, since he's like quarterback 27 or something like that on the year. So
yeah, it's really annoying how poorly the game plans have been. And then I do think that the offense for Pittsburgh will make it like they're not in great shape. Right now, that offense is not in all that great of shape. But dude, Minka is so good. Like I said last year, I thought Minka should have won Defensive Player because of the transformation that the Steelers defense went just by getting him. They went from a really bad defense to a really good defense that nearly dragged Mason Rudolph and was it Ducky Hodges? Was that his name?
Duck Hodges, yeah.
Yeah. Like those two guys were quarterbacking this team. Like, and that team nearly made the playoffs, and that's solely because Minka changed that. So when basically all your receivers are capable of doing is running streak routes, and Minka is back there, it's not going to be a good day. Not going to be a good day. So I would actually
So don't start. Don't start him.
No, I would still start Watson because he'll get you some yardage with his legs, and then he's been really good with getting some of these garbage time minutes and a bunch of garbage time touchdowns. So he'll be better than a lot of others with that. But the play calling has been so bad this year. I really like it when the few times when it's been late in games and we go no huddle and O'Brien doesn't call the plays and it's just basically Deshaun out there calling stuff, and it's gone really well. And so, yeah, I think you can point to coaching as a real big problem for the Texans. I will say the rest of their schedule looks like pancakes after this. It's like the 3 hardest games they play all year were the first 3, but I don't know if you can dig out of a 0-3 hole that easily. It's not good.
That is an interesting. That's definitely an interesting game coming up.
Mm-hmm.
This is a weird week. Like, I think they all are equally not interesting and interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
Like every game this week, it's going to be Chicago, Atlanta, Rams, and Buffalo. That one, I'm interested in that one. Just want to see what Buffalo's got. Going through Cleveland and Washington. You know who's what? I don't think Washington is garbage.
I don't think so either. I actually don't think. I think there's two actual teams in the NFC East that aren't garbage this year. Now one of them is gonna look like garbage because they're playing the Seahawks this year, or this week. So the Cowboys will look like garbage because that's a really good defense. But I don't think the Cowboys have looked decent enough under McCarthy. They've looked decent enough. They actually won a game they shouldn't have, and they've looked decent enough. They were close with the Rams the whole game, and the Rams have looked really good too. So that'll be a good one. I think my most interesting game is obviously Chiefs-Ravens. That's like a cop-out. I know no one wanted to say that because that's obviously the 2 best teams, but in the AFC at least. And that one's going to be super interesting. I love Lamar Jackson. To me, he is the most entertaining player to watch, and the only reason I turned him off on Sunday was because it was breaking my heart. So it was bad. And I absolutely have loved the Chiefs with a running back. I think it's really scary. It's like terrifying, but I would love to see them go up against a defensive line that can actually stop the run. I don't feel like the Chargers, I felt like didn't do a really good job of stopping the run last week, and I feel like they did a really good job of rushing the pass, especially in the first half, but then second half didn't do so hot stopping the run or the pass. And then the Texans just did nothing because they have one above average defensive player on the entire roster. It's just terrible, but yeah.
Any games that catch your eye, Kyle?
I mean, one thing that's going to be interesting to me is so far, the QB1 in both weeks. Do you know what team they played? They played against the same team. Any guesses, real quick?
49ers?
Nope. QB1 from week 1 and the QB1 from week 2. They both played against the same team. That is the Atlanta Falcons. Russ and Dak. So now Mitch Trubisky is set up to have one of his whopper of a 3-touchdown, 300-yard game.
Mitch Trubisky is available in one of my leagues, by the way.
And he is widely available in a lot of leagues. And so
unless you've got a 17
to see.
Yeah, if you don't have a 17-team league, I'm pretty sure Trubisky is available.
Or Superflex, playing a lot of those, where you are starting Jeff Driscoll this week, possibly, or Nick Mullins, or he'd be better options than those. But I think it could be really interesting to. Allen Robinson has started off slow, might be a good get-right game for him. It'll be interesting to see. And then if he's terrible in this game, then maybe we'll start to hear some chants for Foles. Because right now, apparently, from what I hear from the couple of people I know in Chicago, apparently they are just loving Mitch Trubisky this year. And they think that they have their franchise quarterback again. So we'll see how this plays out. But so that one would be fun. And then, I want to see Josh Allen actually play a defense. So maybe we'll see how he does against the Rams, because these first 2 weeks he's looked amazing and he's been great, but he's also played trash. So
as a Josh Allen fantasy owner, I'm really worried about this week. I've been really enjoying the 42 points and the 51 points or whatever it was.
I've been riding him. Actually, that's the thing. I've got, and there's in one of my leagues, I've got him and Watson, and that's what I'm like, who do I want to start? But not from a fantasy perspective. Not from a fantasy perspective. And it's a homer somewhat perspective for me. But we are all Broncos fans this week because there's one team that Tom Brady has a losing record against. And it's the Broncos. So you need to cheer for the Broncos so that losing record stays intact. Because this is the first time that he's coming into Denver. There's no fans there, which still, actually, I think there might be some fans there this go around. But still, he has a losing record against Denver, and he has a losing record in Denver. It's the only team in the league that he actually has a losing record against.
I almost wonder if beating the Buccaneers is and Kyle's going to hate this take. Our normal Kyle is going to hate this take, but I almost wonder if beating the Buccaneers is even something to be proud of at this point. It's because they've looked really bad. I know they won against the Panthers, but C-Mac went down and only had 18 carries. And that defense doesn't have Kuechly. The Panthers look really bad.
Denver doesn't have a defense. We don't have our starting quarterback. We probably don't have our best running back. We don't have our number one wide receiver. Our defense.
And I still think they should be favored. That's how bad it is. I still think they probably should be favored. That's how bad I felt the Buccaneers look.
I know what I'm hoping for. I know what I'm there, but it makes me very sad, especially given the state of that Tampa offensive line and everything with it. I really was looking forward to Von Miller convincing Tom Brady to retire midseason. And that way we could at least, as a Broncos fan, I could always hang my hat on that of, we made Tom Brady decide to finally quit football. For a while there, Von Miller made Cam Newton decide to quit football. At least mentally. So.
Hey, he's back, though. And Cam's been playing really great.
Mm-hmm. I know, and Von Miller can't remind him why he quit. But this Von Miller injury really actually,
I wonder if Von Miller going down is the reason Cam is playing so good.
Oh no, you know what? He knows he's not there. So I mean, my favorite story, if those of you outside of Denver may not have seen this or not. So when Denver played the Panthers week 1 after beating them in the Super Bowl, Von Miller's warm-up cleats were kryptonite, which is just fantastic, and we won that game too. But yeah, so that's.
I remember right after the Super Bowl, someone changed Von Miller's position on Wikipedia from linebacker to Cam Newton's daddy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was bad.
I still hold that Von. I mean, he may be better now. Hopefully he is better. But Von broke something in Cam. Like something was not. He was not okay. Von messed something up. But so yes, I know it is somewhat of a homer take, but that is typically a good game, like I said, and that really is. I mean, there is something to that. Like if, as a Broncos fan, yes, but if I was another team and there was another team that had this thing over Brady, no, pay attention to that. Like it's close. I believe it's not one game, but it is close. But just to kind of see that, so that's a big one. That should be a good one. I am actually excited about Seattle Dallas. Like that should really be a good, exciting game.
Mm-hmm. That should be a shootout because I really am not scared of the Seattle defense either right now. So it should be. It may not be as explosive as the Falcons Cowboys last week, but it's going to be pretty close because they're letting Russ cook. Dak clearly is cooking, and
Dak is going to get paid. I would assume Dak's got to get paid.
Changing some of that as a league, do you like? If push comes to shove, do you let Dak, if you're an opposing team, do you let Dak do things just so that way he does get paid and the Cowboys are stuck with him for a while? Is there something to that? Like, I think there might be a little bit. I'm going to get that at my screen. There might be a little bit to that.
Maybe. I don't know.
If it's garbage time, let him score. Let him put up that.
I really don't
know. I don't know if people think that far. I mean, that's some interstellar existential stuff right there. So I don't know if most people at the end of the game are thinking that deeply, but maybe.
I mean, with everything we're hearing about concussions, they're not able to think that far ahead after about 2 years of playing pro football. So,
yeah, but I'm talking about coaches and teams and strategies.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna run an all-out blitz right here, coach. It's third and 12. If we do that, they're gonna get a first down. All-out blitz.
The old Freddie Kitchens treatment. Sorry, Kyle. Had to throw that out.
It's got to be done.
But we're gonna go on a little bit on that. So we're gonna move on a little bit away. We'll hit up NFL. We'll touch on the NBA slightly. So there's this guy. So that's right. You said there was this young player in Miami, Jonathan. You've told us a lot about this young player in Miami that just dominates everything. Who's completely unstoppable, right? Right. That's the. Oh wait, you're talking about a different guy, weren't you?
I know Miami. This is how crazy Miami's young guys are. Miami had a rookie that was second in Rookie of the Year voting and has not played any meaningful minutes in the playoffs. Kendrick Nunn has not played any meaningful minutes in the playoffs. His minutes have been completely taken over by the other rookie, Tyler Herro, who put up 37 points off the bench last night. And so good that Jimmy Butler, who is the de facto, I don't think he's the best player on Miami, but he's the highest paid player on Miami.
He's my superstar.
He's Miami's superstar. I think Bam is better than he is, which is probably a bit of a hot take, but I think Bam is better than he is. But he is Miami's superstar. And Jimmy showed up for practice this morning wearing Tyler Herro's high school jersey. That's how you know you're good, when the guy that gets paid all the money shows up in your jersey for practice.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. As I didn't catch it, I actually turned on a little bit to that game. I started to see getting things on Twitter and just saying no, This kid is going off. And I'm like, really though, is he though? I've got a thing. There's a joke in our chat that I don't believe basketball actually starts. There's no reason to watch. There's absolutely zero reason to watch anything in an NBA game before the start of the fourth quarter. I still hold to that. There's absolutely no reason to watch anything before the fourth quarter. Nothing matters before the fourth quarter. But I definitely turned on a game I otherwise didn't care about to see what was going on. If I found out that Butler's going off, I don't think I'm doing that. If I find out that Bam's going off, I don't think I'm doing that. But no, this Herro guy, like, that got me, like, you had my curiosity, now you have my attention. For a bit there, for a moment. I didn't watch that much, but I watched a little bit.
Kyle, are you much of a basketball guy?
Back when I was in high school, I'm I've never been a tall guy, so I was always point guard, that type of position. But it's been a while. Like, so you told me we might be talking about this, so I just typed into Twitter Herro ball and like, what is this? What is this thing called Herro ball? And the first thing that came to my mind was, other than he doesn't pass the ball, was white chocolate. Jason Williams back in the day, as he was just dicing through people, but then he would score instead of passing it off or throwing it off his elbow to somebody. But that's the first thing that came to mind when I was watching him play.
I will say this: Tyler Herro had the best draft suit of anyone at the draft this year, like by far. This dude he has got some real swagger, and he carries himself with it. And this is the first time he's blown up in points, but this dude basically ended the Milwaukee series with his shooting in fourth quarters. Like, Ben may say nothing begins till the fourth quarter, but this dude would run off screens and was hitting stuff in people's faces the entire time. Like, no regard for if it's a bad shot or not. And it was going in. I have a feeling Herro ball is going to run out of gas at some point, because I don't feel like this type of shooting on that type of shot selection is sustainable. But my goodness, is it fun to watch right now?
Bad shots when they go in are really entertaining. If in our chat, I'm known often as a buzzkill on stuff like that, because I do, but it's because I consciously have to decide and remind myself that's a bad shot. Just because it worked and it went in doesn't mean it's not a bad shot. You took a 35-footer with
a hand in your face.
With a hand in your face with 15 left in the shot clock. That's a bad shot, whether it goes in or not.
And your starting point guard is the president of that bad shot committee.
I remember, in our chat, I know some people have given me crap for when I've said some things about Lillard. Like, I think Lillard's amazing, but no, like, stop taking bad shots. Well, for him, it's not a bad shot. It's a 35-footer with a hand in your face with 15 seconds left. It's a bad shot. But
and Jamal Murray is definitely following in the Lillard footsteps right now. It's been a little rough.
Don't care if it's Murdoch. They're bad shots. Stop it.
Yeah, no, they are definitely the type of shots that me as a coach was like, stop that. No, go sit over there until you learn better.
It definitely is though a product. Like it's the Steph, maybe a little bit of the Harden, but the Steph Curry effect of, it used to be AEU or AAU, sorry, not AEU. AAU ball was, I'm going to call ISO, and then I'm going to dribble and cross you up and hit my fadeaway from the key. Now AAU is, I'm going to dribble the ball for the entire time of the shot clock, and then I'm going to jack up a 35-footer. Like, that's become the new thing. Like, nope. Steph, stop breaking basketball.
That is a big problem, because it's like what's a good shot for someone is not a good shot for others. So like when I played, I could dunk. I could do the thing where you throw the ball over the rim and then grab the rim and pretend like you dunked it. And so I remember we were playing against a team and I was trying to get stuff going. And so I pulled out on the break and I'm like, I'm going to tomahawk this down. And I rim checked myself so bad that the only reason I didn't die was because the other guy on the other team grabbed me before I fell. The guy that was trying to chase me down grabbed me before I fell and hit my head. It was bad. And would have been way better for me to have just hit a layup and then got back and played defense. So I think part of the thing about professional sports is they are selling themselves. They are trying to be able to market themselves and to move forward. And speaking of poor marketing, do we want to pivot to Stanley Cup playoffs for you, Ben?
I don't know. It's poor marketing. I mean, they're not doing bad.
Hey, it's finally on TV. I can watch. I watched a little bit of this last game.
So I'm stoked that the Avs rookie won Rookie of the Year. So I'm happy. The kid's super humble. Cale Makar, if you keep an eye, like this is a guy. He was the 4th overall pick, and told the team that the 4th overall pick said, "I'm not ready. I need to go spend 2 years in college." The NHL and pro hockey does weird or college hockey, and the NHL has really weird rules and really weird things. That you can be a draft pick and that team still owns your rights, but instead of sending you to minor league hockey, they let you go play in college. It's weird. It's odd. I still don't fully understand how it
basketball
all works.
Used to do that as well.
But I really like the system, and the NBA should probably look at adapting it. But that's not the conversation. But this is a kid who literally said, "Hey guys, I'm not ready. I need to go spend." And then he spent 2 years as the best player in college hockey, and then came out. He actually came out last year in the playoffs and just set the world on fire and just been amazing. I felt somewhat bad for him a little bit this year because he was clearly everyone's little brother on the team. And you see that he desperately wants to not be the little brother. However, they won't let him. So there were a number of cases during the playoffs and during some of the play-in games where you could see him getting ready and trying to start to pick a fight with somebody. And as soon as he starts getting rough, one of the other players on the Avs would immediately cut him off and start pushing the guy that he was pushing. And he's like, "Guys," you just see the look on his face, like, let me fight. Let me do my own thing. They're like, "No."
Kyle, have you watched any NHL this year?
This year? No.
Okay, so you're like everyone else on the planet. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Again,
No one watches
the one sport who has had increase in ratings. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's easier to have
Look,
an
if you
increase
start from
when
the
they're so low to beginning.
Yeah, it started from the bottom.
Every other sport this season in this COVID time has hemorrhaged ratings. Not just like, they're kind of down. No. They've hemorrhaged ratings. The NHL is posting positives.
Yep. And there's probably some non-sports reasons for that we don't need to get into. But yeah.
But yeah, there's something there. And I say this every time, hockey is an amazing, amazing game. I mean, you had the MVP race was a fantastic, amazing race. Hockey is also one of those weird sports that actually has almost two MVPs. They've got an MVP trophy that's voted on by the players, and then another MVP trophy that's voted on by the media. And this year it actually was the same guy. And because I'm on a recorded line, absolutely he did not deserve it. It should have been gone to Nathan McKinnon. It really should have. I really do think it should have gone to Nathan McKinnon, but that guy had an amazing year. Just unbelievable year. But it's been crazy, and especially one of the marketing campaigns for the NHL is there's nothing like the Stanley Cup, and honestly, there's not. I'm still angry at the state of the TV deal that it's not shown on real stations. But that being said, if you've got a cable subscription, you can sign up for the NBC Sports app and you can watch it. But there's nothing like the Stanley Cup. And the ability of a hot goaltender, there's nothing else like it in sports, where you can be a completely and utterly superior team in every single way. Even in goalie play, you have a better goalie than the other team, but they just go off and they can't be broken in. So anyway, that was good. Right now, the Lightning do lead 2-1. And the Lightning look like they show no signs of stopping. So no, Jonathan, the Dallas Stars are not going to win because they're dirty. But anyway.
Just because Ben is salty that they lost, I am picking the Dallas Stars. Like, salty that his team lost to the Stars, I am picking them to win the Stanley Cup Finals.
I got no problem if they lose. I got a problem when the other team attempts to injure players.
You mean like Paul Millsap did with Anthony Davis just now?
Okay, Paul Millsap has never been once considered to be a dirty player. Like, I'm not going to deny that it happened, and I'm not going to deny that it was reckless and him making a dumb move. But if you're going to – dirty is intent to injure.
Yeah, no.
Paul Millsap has never once been like – okay, think about this. This is a guy who chose to come to Denver as opposed to anywhere else because he says, this is a quiet place where I can raise my family. Those people that do that don't deliberately try to injure people.
Anyway, hey, all right. Let's end with this. What's something you're looking forward to in sports this week? Let's everyone say something, and we'll end with that. I am looking forward to these first 3 games not being on the Texans' schedule anymore. I'm very much looking forward to that. And that being gone. What about you, Kyle?
I'm looking forward to the Browns getting to a winning record, 2-1 over Washington. It's gonna happen. The football. It's gonna beat the football.
Who's your quarterback?
Baker Mayfield for now.
And who's your coach? Your coach is not Freddie Kitchens. Like, it could be. Your coach is not Freddie Kitchens.
You're right. You're right.
Ben?
And that's what.
This week, I would like to say, especially given the current state, that, the Nuggets go 3 for 3.
On being down 3-1.
And coming back 3-1. Which that would be insane. That'd be amazing. Hot take, I don't believe it's gonna happen. And I'm pretty sure if you've listened to us for any time, you know my reasons why I know it's not gonna happen. That's not downplaying. I think the Lakers are probably a better team, but we all know the reason behind that. Even if it could happen, we all know it's not gonna happen. But so that I'm a little bit looking forward to. Seeing
the Blake Bortles experience. Are you looking forward to that?
Do it, Blake the Snake.
I mean, it's better than Driscoll.
I literally asked a week ago in our chat, "Is Blake Bortles alive?"
Yeah, like it. I mean, actually, I'm honestly surprised he wasn't a backup somewhere. But then again, there are a few other players that I'm surprised haven't been signed, like Clay Matthews. How has Clay Matthews not been signed?
Because he's still in an argument with the Rams over money that he believes is owed to him, and that can leave a lot of teams to not want to sign him.
Still, like, dude, it's Clay Matthews. Like, the Broncos tried. Apparently, they just couldn't make it work out. But there are a few players that are just kind of like, really? So maybe that's what I'm looking forward to. Clay Matthews signing somewhere. That's
all right. Yeah, we'll go with that.
All right. But anyway, we need to close it up. So we'll see you guys next time and see you later.